The cooked ham you buy every single week, the staple of your grocery list, could be hiding a truth that fundamentally changes everything you thought you knew about nutrition and safety. Picture that familiar package you absent-mindedly toss into your shopping cart. Visualize those two pink tender slices you place in your children's sandwich every morning before school. It is a product that has successfully positioned itself as the healthiest, lightest option among the vast array of cold cuts available at the deli counter. However, for 10 years, this specific product has been sitting on the blacklist of the World Health Organization. It occupies the same dangerous category as cigarette smoking and asbestos, Group 1 of definite human carcinogens. This is not a hypothesis. It is a classification reserved for substances where there is absolutely no doubt regarding their harmful nature to human biology. And just in these recent days, the situation in Italy has exploded into a full-blown public outcry. Social media platforms are currently flooded with alarming videos, investigative clips, and terrified commentary. People are confused, angry, and feeling betrayed. But the truly shocking aspect of this entire phenomenon is that this classification is not new information. It dates back to 2015, exactly 10 years ago. Yet for a decade, no one has ever truly taken the time to explain to the general public what this classification means in practical terms. Why now, in January 2026, is everyone suddenly talking about it? Why has the silence been broken? There are two primary reasons for this sudden awakening. First, in December 2025, just last month, groundbreaking new studies were published in the prestigious British Medical Journal. These studies provided fresh, undeniable confirmation of the direct link between nitrites, nitrates, and the development of prostate and breast cancers. These were not minor findings. They were significant enough to reignite a global scientific debate. Second, the algorithm of social media began to aggressively spread behind-the-scenes footage showing exactly how cooked ham is manufactured, specifically focusing on the addition of chemical preservatives. These videos have garnered millions of views. For the first time, ordinary people have seen with their own eyes what is really inside that innocent-looking pink product. And the food industry has reacted poorly to this exposure. Instead of admitting the problem, apologizing, and committing to improving quality, they tried to minimize the damage. They claimed it was mere alarmism. They argued that the public does not understand science. They insisted that preservatives are safe simply because they respect current legal limits. But here is the crucial nuance that the industry ignores. Legal limits do not consider chronic exposure. They do not account for the fact that you consume these products daily, for years, sometimes decades. They do not consider the cumulative effect of these chemicals building up in your system. And to make matters worse, just in December 2025, a few weeks ago, the Ministry of Health was forced to recall 2 specific batches of cooked ham from the market due to the possible presence of Listeria monocytogenes. This wasn't a budget brand. It was from the brand Lenti Elode, which markets itself as high-quality cooked ham. The specific batches were 2541327 and 2541328, with an expiry date of January 3, 2026. This is not a trivial matter. Listeria is a bacterium that can cause severe, life-threatening infections, particularly in pregnant women, the elderly, and immunocompromised individuals. This recall is just the latest in a disturbing series of safety failures that have been increasing in frequency over recent years. Today, on Shelf Truth, we are going to deconstruct the entire industry. You will discover exactly why cooked ham is considered carcinogenic. We will expose the specific preservatives no one tells you about. We will calculate how much you can truly eat without risking your life. And we will name the brands that have the most serious quality problems. Let us begin by dissecting the truth they are desperate to hide from you. In October 2015, the International Agency for Research on Cancer, which is part of the World Health Organization, published a classification that should have shocked the world more than it did. After analyzing over 800 rigorous scientific studies conducted by 22 international experts from 10 different countries, the agency made the decision to include all processed meats in Group 1 of carcinogens. It is vital to understand that this category includes not just cooked ham, but also salami, mortadella, cured ham, bresaola, speck, pancetta, hot dogs, sausages, and all forms of canned meat. When a substance is placed in Group 1, it means one precise thing. There is sufficient scientific evidence that the consumption of these foods causes cancer in humans. The wording is specific. It does not say it might cause cancer. It does not say it is probable. It says that it causes it. The cancer mainly associated with this consumption is colorectal cancer, which is one of the most common and deadly forms of cancer globally. However, more recent studies have also established strong links to prostate and pancreatic cancer. Now, we must clarify a point that is often misunderstood and that the media rarely explains clearly. Being in Group 1 does not mean that eating a slice of cooked ham is as dangerous as smoking a pack of cigarettes. It means that the scientific certainty of the link is the same. The strength of the evidence is identical. Smoking is much more dangerous in terms of absolute risk, meaning it kills more people overall. But cooked ham has the same level of scientific proof regarding its ability to cause cancer. The difference lies in the dose and the frequency. The studies show precise, terrifying data. Consuming just 50 grams of processed meat per day increases the risk of colorectal cancer by 18%. To put that in perspective, 50 grams is roughly 2 slices of cooked ham. Just 2 slices put into a sandwich every day for years increases your risk by nearly 1/5 compared to someone who does not consume it at all. A massive meta-analysis published in the journal Nature Medicine in 2025 confirmed these data with even more precision. It showed that consuming 50 to 55 grams per day increases the risk of colorectal cancer by 7% and, interestingly, increases the risk of type 2 diabetes by 11%. The most frightening aspect of this data is that there is no safe threshold. The graph is linear. The more you consume, the more the risk increases. So, why exactly is cooked ham carcinogenic? What is happening at a molecular level? There are 3 main factors at play. First, there is heme iron. Second, there is salt. Third, and most dangerously, there are the preservatives known as nitrites and nitrates. Let's look at heme iron first. This is the specific type of iron present in animal meat. When it reaches your intestine, it acts as a catalyst for oxidative stress. It can damage the cells of the intestinal lining, create free radicals, and promote a state of chronic inflammation. Over time, this constant inflammation increases the risk of cellular mutations that lead to cancer. Salt is the second major problem. Cooked ham is incredibly salty. It contains between 1.6 and 2 grams of salt per 100 grams of product. The World Health Organization recommends a maximum intake of 5 grams of salt per day for an adult. A single 100-gram portion of cooked ham already covers 40% of your entire daily allowance. Excessive salt intake damages the gastric lining, making it more susceptible to carcinogens. It promotes hypertension, drastically increases the risk of stroke, and contributes to cardiovascular diseases. But while salt and iron are problematic, the real villains in this story are the preservatives, nitrites and nitrates. This is the part that the industry absolutely does not want you to know. Nitrites are identified on labels by the codes E249 and E250, while nitrates are identified by E251 and E252. These chemical preservatives are added to cooked ham for 3 strategic reasons. First, to prevent the growth of Clostridium botulinum, a bacterium that causes botulism, a severe and potentially fatal form of food poisoning. Second, to maintain the pink color that consumers psychologically associate with freshness. Third, to improve the product's aroma and flavor profile. Here is the reality. Without nitrites, cooked ham would be gray. When you cook pork at home, it turns gray or white. It does not stay pink. But consumers have been conditioned to believe that gray meat means poor quality or spoilage. So the industry adds nitrites to maintain that unnatural, vibrant pink, which is actually nothing more than a chemical trick. The biological problem arises because nitrites, when they enter the acidic environment of the human stomach, undergo a chemical transformation. They turn into nitrous acid. This nitrous acid then reacts with amines, which are naturally present in proteins, to form compounds called nitrosamines. Nitrosamines are classified as Category 1A carcinogens. They are incredibly toxic. They damage the DNA of your cells, they irritate the intestinal lining, and they promote chronic inflammation. Italian law permits a maximum of 150 milligrams of nitrites per kilogram of product, or 100 milligrams for sterilized products. However, the industry uses these amounts primarily for color, not just safety. To maintain that perfect pink hue, they need doses 3 times higher than those strictly necessary for preservation against bacteria. Furthermore, there is a deception that few consumers are aware of. Some producers sell cooked ham labeled "no added nitrites" to appeal to health-conscious buyers. However, they use vegetable extracts like celery powder or beetroot juice, which are naturally rich in nitrates. During the processing and digestion, these natural nitrates transform into nitrites and then into nitrosamines. The chemical result in your body is identical. A 2016 decree mandated declaring these vegetables as preservatives if used in significant quantities, but many companies bypass this by writing "natural flavors" on the labels. Consumers think they are buying a healthier, cleaner product. In reality, they are consuming the same masked preservatives. The health impact is measurable. A 2022 French study analyzed over 100,000 people for a duration of 6 years. The results were stark. The risk of prostate cancer increases by 58% when consuming just 0.25 milligrams of sodium nitrite per day, which equates to about 2 slices of ham. The risk of breast cancer increases by 25% for those who consume 0.36 milligrams of potassium nitrate per day. Many companies try to mitigate this by adding sodium ascorbate or vitamin C, which helps block nitrosamine formation, but studies show this does not eliminate the risk completely. It only reduces it. We now arrive at the crucial practical question. Given all this evidence, how much cooked ham can you really eat? The World Cancer Research Fund and the World Health Organization are unequivocal. They recommend limiting processed meat consumption as much as possible. The guidelines suggest a maximum of 50 grams occasionally, meaning once a week or less. Certainly not every day. But if we look at the dietary habits of Italians, and indeed many Western nations, how many people truly follow these recommendations? Cooked ham is the best-selling cold cut in Italy. It is the default filling for children's sandwiches every morning. It is the go-to ingredient for toast at lunch. It is a standard topping on white pizza for dinner. It is everywhere. And the tragedy is that no one considers it a problem because, compared to fatty salami or greasy bacon, it seems like the healthier, lighter option. But we must shatter this illusion. Cooked ham is not the healthy option. It is an ultra-processed meat product loaded with chemical preservatives, excessive salt, heme iron, and a scientifically proven carcinogenic risk. To understand the depth of the issue, we must look at the brands themselves. Which brands present the most serious problems? In a comprehensive test published by the consumer watchdog Il Salvagente in April 2024, 8 major brands of cooked ham were analyzed in a laboratory. The results revealed significant and worrying differences in quality, salt quantity, and the presence of problematic additives. One of the most concerning findings was the presence of monosodium glutamate in 2 specific brands, Ferrarini and Vismarissimi Vismara. Glutamate is a flavor enhancer. it is added to artificially improve the taste of a product, imparting a savory, salty, or meaty flavor known as umami. While the European Food Safety Authority, EFSA, has established an acceptable daily intake of 30 milligrams per kilogram of body weight, the presence of glutamate in a product like cooked ham is a major red flag regarding quality. If the raw material, the meat itself, were of high quality, there would be absolutely no need to add chemical flavor enhancers. You add glutamate when the meat is tasteless or of poor origin. The amount of salt also varies significantly between brands. For instance, Rovignati contains 1.6 grams of salt per 100 grams. In contrast, brands like Beretta and Casa Modena contain 2 grams per 100 grams. That is a 25% difference in sodium content. When you choose a brand with more salt, you are unknowingly increasing your risk of hypertension, stroke, and cardiovascular problems with every bite. Sugar is another common, yet often ignored, additive. Manufacturers add sugar, dextrose, or fructose to balance the flavor and mask acidity. Rovignati stands out as one of the only brands that does not add sugars, even declaring no added sugars on the label, which is a sign of superior processing. However, perhaps the most deceptive practice is the addition of water. Many brands inject water into the meat to artificially increase the product's weight, improve tenderness, and drastically lower production costs. You are essentially paying ham prices for tap water, but excessive water compromises the texture and quality. Products with too much water have a shiny, almost wet, gelatinous appearance. The slice crumbles easily when you try to lift it. There is often a strong release of liquid inside the plastic packaging. How do they make the meat hold onto all that extra water? They use chemical additives called polyphosphates. These compounds act like glue. They bind water molecules to the meat proteins. This makes the product weigh more and cost less to produce, but the nutritional quality plummets. Furthermore, polyphosphates can interfere with your body's ability to absorb calcium and can cause kidney problems over time. Finally, we must address the issue of mechanically separated meat. This is the bottom of the barrel. It is a paste obtained by mechanically scraping bones to recover every last residue of meat after the prime cuts have been removed. The result is a pink sludge containing cartilage, tendons, bone fragments, and poor quality fat. The law requires this to be declared on the label. If you see the words mechanically separated meat, put the package down immediately. You are looking at the lowest possible quality product available on the market. To protect yourself and your family, you must learn to recognize quality. Follow these 5 criteria. First, look at the appearance. The ham should be opaque and matte, not shiny or gelatinous. Second, check the texture. The slice must be firm and not crumble apart. Third, read the label religiously. Check for salt content, added sugars, and the presence of glutamate. Fourth, specifically look for products that state without polyphosphates. Fifth, verify the origin. Ensure the pig was born, raised, and slaughtered in your country, as regulations can vary wildly across borders. The ultimate question remains, is it worth continuing to buy cooked ham at all? The answer depends entirely on your consumption frequency and your willingness to accept risk. If you are currently eating cooked ham every day or feeding it to your children daily, you are significantly increasing the risk of colorectal cancer within your household. This is not an opinion. It is statistical fact based on decades of research. If you eat it once a week, the risk is much more contained. But you must remain aware that even low and repeated consumption contributes to the cumulative effect. Fortunately, safer alternatives exist, and making the switch is easier than you might think. The gold standard alternative is prosciutto crudo PDO, protected designation of origin, such as Parma ham or San Daniele. These products are completely free of nitrites and nitrates. Their strict production specifications legally prohibit the use of any preservative other than sea salt. These hams are naturally aged in controlled environments. Time, air, and salt replace the laboratory chemicals used in cooked ham. While it is true that prosciutto crudo contains more sodium than cooked ham, the risk associated with salt is manageable. You simply eat a slightly smaller portion or drink more water. However, the risk associated with nitrites is insidious and carcinogenic. Between the risk of salt and the risk of cancer-causing nitrosamines, prosciutto crudo PDO is undeniably the safer choice. Other excellent alternatives include sliced roasted turkey or chicken breast, provided you buy the versions without preservatives. These products typically have a much shorter shelf life because they lack the chemicals that keep meat pink for weeks, but they are infinitely safer for your body. If you absolutely cannot give up cooked ham, there are strategies to mitigate the damage. Always combine your consumption with fruits and vegetables rich in vitamin C, such as oranges, kiwis, or bell peppers. Vitamin C acts as an inhibitor, helping to block the formation of nitrosamines in the stomach. Furthermore, never cook, burn, or toast cooked ham. High temperatures accelerate the formation of toxic compounds. The most effective strategy, however, is simply to reduce the frequency. You must stop treating cooked ham as a staple food and start treating it as an occasional indulgence. The food industry has known these facts for years. They know that nitrites form nitrosamines. They know about the cancer risks, but they continue to add them because they know that consumers buy with their eyes, and consumers want that unnatural pink color. They are prioritizing profit and aesthetics over your long-term health. The choice is now yours. Do you continue to buy cooked ham every day because it is convenient and familiar? Or do you start looking for safer alternatives? The next time you are standing at the supermarket shelf, pause. Turn the package over. Read the label. Check the salt. Look for E250. Look for polyphosphates. Do not let convenience or habit make this decision for you. You do not have to eliminate it completely if you love it, but you must respect the science. Treat it for what it is, an ultra-processed food with a proven carcinogenic risk. When you do buy it, choose the highest quality possible. No polyphosphates, no glutamate, no mechanically separated meat. Or better yet, switch to prosciutto crudo PDO, or home-cooked sliced chicken. The change does not have to be radical or overnight. Reduce the frequency gradually. Go from every day to 3 times a week, then to 2, then to 1. Your cancer risk will measurably decrease with every reduction. Choose products that respect your biology and your longevity. Do this not just because it is the right thing to do, but because this is the only body and the only life you have.